Hello everybody, December 48 here, and welcome back to another Marvel Monday. Today was probably one of the best Marvel Mondays I've had to do in a while. It was another challenge for a movie. I was challenged to bring Endgame off of my top spot, and right below it was Infinity War, so I spent the last 6 hours or so watching Infinity War right into Endgame. Wow. Really good movies. I already knew that going in, but it reminded me of why they're on top. And they definitely belong in the top 2 spots. And frankly, I think I got it right the first time around. Infinity War was still an incredible movie. It'd been long enough that I didn't remember exactly how everything happened, but Endgame was just emotionally perfect. I think there was bits in Endgame that I was like, this is slowing down a little bit. Whereas you didn't get that in Infinity War, but Endgame pulled on the emotional strings just as much the second watch through as the first. Whereas Infinity War, it wasn't as emotional for me. It was still incredible, still tugging on the heartstrings. But Endgame got tears like 4 or 5 times. The same 4 or 5 that I got the first watch through. And even though I knew they were coming, it was still very impactful. So the fact that that's a thing, I think, has to keep Endgame on top. At least 2 watch throughs through with those 2 movies. I don't see a reason why I would not watch those movies again in the future. So maybe that changes down the line, but for me, Endgame is still on top. I mean, the moment where everyone comes behind Captain America towards the end, and pretty much everything on from the Tony Stark funeral was just emotionally rough. The Natasha sacrifice was rough. All the same moments, really, as the first time around. But really good movies, really glad I watched them. And glad to go back to essentially the peak of Marvel to see what they built up after about a decade of movies, if not more, and where they really were building towards and what they ended up doing. And also the credit scenes were awesome with all the signatures and stuff. That was really cool. But yeah, those were really good movies. Literally just finished Endgame, so still processing all of that. That was great. Yeah, let me know if you agree or disagree with me down in the comments below. I'm sure this is a pretty mixed thing, but for me, the emotion, even though I think there's a little bit better action in Infinity War throughout the movie, it's more consistent action. The emotion just really, for me, ties it all together. For an action movie to be that emotional is impressive. And it looked great, too. I mean, they both look great. That's not a real quality that's going to differentiate them because they both looked amazing. Yeah, that's all I have for today's video. I'm going to keep Endgame in the number 1 spot with Infinity War very close behind in 2 for the emotion factor pretty much alone. Thank you everybody so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.